Good evening, everyone. Tonight is May 15th, 2017. Welcome back to Veterans Voices, our monthly talk show focusing on veterans issues. I'm Nathan Johnson, the Contra Costa County Veteran Service Officer, and tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Gold Star father, Calvet Link, Kevin Graves. Hey, Kevin.
How you doing, Nathan? Thank you. Tonight's episode is Some Gave All. We are focusing on Memorial Day and what it means. There are 3 holidays specifically recognizing the military. Armed Forces Day, which recognizes those that are serving, Veterans Day, which recognizes those that have served, and Memorial Day. Memorial Day is the one day of the year where we recognize those that have given their lives for their country, those that paid their last full measure of devotion, to quote President Lincoln. The holiday started as Decoration Day in 1868, when General James Garfield gave a speech at Arlington Cemetery, and then the 5,000 in attendance decorated the graves there. Later it became Memorial Day and is traditionally celebrated on the last Monday in May. For many it is the start of summer, the first day out in the boat, or the day the family finally gets to go camping. However, for many of us it is about the empty seat at the picnic table, the daughter without a father, or the parent without a son. Freedom isn't free, and this day is extremely significant to those of us that have paid that price. Our heroes died so we could live in a free society. We have a responsibility to hold precious those freedoms. We have an obligation to continue to live our lives, no matter how difficult that can be. For some of us, every day is Memorial Day, because all we have is memories. Sometimes we laugh, and sometimes we cry, but we never forget. We never, ever forget. So this Monday, take a moment, be silent, and remember the heroes and their families, and pray that they continue to walk through that pain.
Thank you, Kevin. That was wonderful. On Memorial Day, the last Monday of the month, how do you honor those who have fallen? We want to invite you to participate in the conversation tonight. We've got great guests on the show, but we can't have a full show without the participation of you, our audience. We want to hear what Memorial Day means to you, and in whatever way. How do you spend that day to remember to memorialize those who gave their life on active duty? You can call in, you can leave an email, you can chat, call us live right now. For the next hour, our phones will be available at 925-313-1170. And don't forget, you can always send us a message anonymously through our website's private chat function. We're also on Facebook Live. Now, we'd like to share a short video of the local Blue Star Moms High School Memorial Project. This particular memorial, dedicated at Berean Christian High School, was for PFC Benjamin Tollefson. We'll be back shortly with 2 Blue Star moms who will tell us more about this project.
He was just a goofball who loved to make people laugh. And as Dr. Noriega mentioned, while he was here, he met the love of his life, Natalie. And they went on to get married in 2007 after Ben enlisted in the Army. They had a son, Mac James, who was almost 9 years old. He was stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas, and was deployed to Iraq in September 2008. On December 31st, our lives were changed forever as Ben was hit by a mortar bomb while on a mission with his unit in Ghazaliyah, Iraq. There are no words to describe the pain that we felt and still feel around the loss of our precious son, brother, husband, friend, cousin.
I never would have thought that on the day when we all found out that he was gone, and how devastating that was and life-shattering.
We are now joined by 2 moms who do a lot for the troops and families in our community. Welcome to two of our local Blue Star moms, Carol and Loretta. Hi, you guys.
Hi.
Hello, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
How you doing?
Fine, thank
Good.
you.
Carol, second time on the show. Welcome back. Loretta, first time on the show. And what a
Yes.
wonderful opportunity. We just gave our audience a little bit of a taste of some of the work that's been done by the Blue Star Moms. And of course, this is memorials for our local fallen. How did this idea begin?
Well, in September 2004, I was not a military mom yet. I was certainly not a Blue Star mom. But I opened up the newspaper one morning and saw that a young Marine, Mick Bukowski, Concord High grad, had died in Iraq. My older son had already graduated from Concord High. My younger son, who ultimately became a Marine, was a sophomore. And I thought, how sad. Something should be done at Concord High. And it always just kind of stayed in my mind. Fast forward 12 years, I met Joan Bukowski, Mick's mom. And that's when I said, let's do something. I talked to Carol, she's our Blue Star Mom president. I said, I'd like to do something at Concord High. And of course, Carol came up with the idea of doing something at all of the high schools in our Blue Star Mom area where a former student died in combat in Iraq or Afghanistan.
Wonderful. And so there's been 2 of these done so far. What high schools have had memorials dedicated?
So the first one was at Concord High.
Okay.
And then the second was at Berean Christian. And then we have a third one coming up at Mount Diablo High School on May 24th to honor Eric Hodges, a fallen Marine.
Very good. You know what's interesting about that, and as you guys know, Joey's in Contra Costa County, and Liberty's on the list, which is awesome because, like 8-9 years ago, there was a teacher there that talked about putting a memorial up for the 2 students that were from, but it never happened. And like you, and I just remembered that when you said go back to 2004, and I remember the teacher happened to go to my church, and he said, no, we're going to do this. We're going to. And nothing, not his fault. I mean, he's a great guy, and he had a great heart, and he had a great idea. But the fact that you guys are finally implementing that means so much to Gold Star families. And I just, on behalf of, you know, what you've done so far and what you're going to do, it's going to be very meaningful to have a permanent marker that no matter where I am when I'm gone, that there'll be something there that a sophomore will walk by and go, who was Ben Tollefson? You know, and it'll tell them who Ben Tollefson was, or who was Mick. You know, it'll tell them who Mick was, or who was Joey. It'll tell them who Joey was.
And that was really our driving focus and force, was we didn't want their sacrifice to ever be forgotten. And we wanted our families, our Gold Star families, to know their child mattered to the community and that we didn't forget, you know. And so the support we've had has really been overwhelming. We weren't sure how it would be received, and it has really been successful. And
so if you're just tuning in, tonight's topic is Some Gave All. And we were wanting to engage our audience. We have some Blue Star moms up here who are talking about local memorials at the high schools throughout the school district here in Contra Costa County. But we want you to participate. You can call in with questions or comments. The work that the moms are doing is just wonderful, as everyone's been saying. Tell us, though, we saw a little bit of a visual, but tell us, what do these memorials typically consist of? What's on them? What do they say? For some of them, there's more than one name, isn't that right?
Yes, Concord High, there are 3. In addition to Mick Bukowski, we have Sergeant Gabriel Guzman and Private First Class Scott Barnett. Berean Christian, just Ben. Some will have 2, but we include the Battlefield Cross. My Marine son said we absolutely had to have that on there.
That's engraved onto the memorial itself?
Yes.
So all the memorials will be very similar in how they look. The words will be different as to what's appropriate for each school, or?
For the school, and you know, and of course the information about the fallen warriors. And it's about 600 pounds of solid granite stone, you know, which will be there forever.
So one of the big challenges that you have is that you are is raising the funds for this also.
Yes.
Yes.
So I want to make everybody aware of that too, that there's a cause out there that means a lot. Because, I mean, at a local level, if you forget here, you're going to forget everywhere. I mean, where else can you be remembered but at a local level?
Exactly.
So it's just it's an awesome. feels good.
So people make contributions to Blue Star Moms directly, or do they make them to the high school itself?
No, to the Blue Star Mom, to our chapter directly, and then make a notation, right, chapter 20, and make a notation that that's the project that it's for, because our chapter actually does several projects that are ongoing. But this one, yeah, people just have to designate that that's what it's for. But yeah, that's our biggest challenge, I would say, is funds.
And I agree with Kevin that if this is not something that's remembered or done on a local level, then on a national level we tend to forget. So is this something that another organization like Blue Star Moms, or maybe a Rotary or a local Boy Scouts troop, is this something that they could do at some of their own high schools? And if so, what goes into it? There must be a lot of work, a lot of coordinating, a lot of support that has to be sought in order to get this accomplished. Can you give us a little bit of an idea if someone else wants to do this?
Well, we're more than happy to give advice. We're becoming experts on it.
Yeah.
We
right.
have a dedication ceremony, as you saw in the video. And we have good contact with the monument company. It's V. Fontana & Co. in Colma.
And you do partner with, I mean, you look to find partners in the community that may want to step up, whether it be the Lions Club or the Rotary Club or the Business Club or
the VFW.
that may have funds available, because the sooner that you can raise the funds, the sooner you can get the monuments and honor the families.
Exactly. As soon as we have the money in hand, we will move on to our next school.
And it does involve, we have to start first off with the high school and get their permission and have that dialogue with them, and then we move forward. And of course the families, we speak to them first, I should say, and then the high schools, and then we move forward. But we are getting it down to a project that really Loretta has done an amazing amount of work and dialed everything in. And so our vision is that we will have a project plan, basically, that somebody could take and implement elsewhere.
In another county or another
Well,
region
we've
or
already
whatever.
had 2 inquiries in other parts of the state, in California, one in South City and one in Southern California, wanting to do something similar. And so Loretta and I said, well, hey, why stop there? It would be a fabulous dream for us to have it spread across the U.S.
So we're talking to Loretta Masnada and Carol Prell, 2 Blue Star moms. Tonight's topic is Some Gave All, and these 2 moms, along with many other people in the community, have created memorials at our local high schools to remember those that died in Iraq and Afghanistan. What does this mean to some of the Gold Star families, or maybe what does this mean to some of the high school kids that attend the school and see these memorials?
Well, I think to the high school kids, have actually had some comment on them, and they say, oh, we didn't know. But we hope it gives them just a moment to pause and think that somebody who walked those halls before they did made the supreme sacrifice for them, for all of us, for our freedoms.
Many people think about, what famous athletes came from their high school, right?
Exactly.
Oh, this guy that went off to play baseball, or this woman that went off to be a track athlete. So this is an opportunity for them to reflect on the true heroes of their high school, the legends that went off to join the military and serve their country and ultimately give their all. So moms, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have to move on to our next segment. Typically, veterans, military families, and political figures come together to honor the fallen in parades or at memorials. But we'd like to talk more personally. Tell us how you honor those who have fallen for our freedoms. During the break, we'll be standing by for your calls, emails, and messages, just like Ralph did. Thank you, Ralph. And those others that are out there joining us, please call in. We'll be right back.
Warm summer night in this little town. My boy and me went riding our bikes around, just like we'd done 100 summer nights before. We passed the Murray's house on Maple Street, Stopped for a minute there, 'cause we could see something different about that service banner hanging by their door. I heard Daddy, I thought that star was blue, and I wondered then if he knew. Blue stars turn gold, blue stars turn gold. It'll leave an awful lake deep inside your soul when blue stars turn gold. I said that's the home of a hero there, the answer to a grateful nation's prayer, so we could sleep in peace tonight and know we're safe. Someone who fought for the stars and stripes, knowing he might make this sacrifice to keep us living in the land of the free, home of the brave. So when you see those colors changed around, that family's whole world turned upside down. When blue stars turn gold, blue stars turn gold, it'll leave an awful lake deep inside your soul when blue stars turn gold. You just gotta trust the good Lord's in control, and He welcomes another soldier home. When blue stars turn gold, blue stars turn gold, it'll leave an awful lake deep inside your soul when blue stars turn gold. Blue stars turn gold.
That was Blue Stars Turn Gold, a tribute for America's Gold Star families. The song can be purchased online with part of the proceeds going to Gold Star parents. We are now joined by Gold Star moms Yolanda Vega and Mary Tollefson and Sergeant First Class Mike Garcia, who was Joey's best friend over in Iraq and served with him over there and was actually with him the day he was killed. So I want to welcome you all to the set. We're talking today specifically amongst us that have suffered that loss. For us as parents, we know what that's like, and you know, Mike lost his family member too because one of his brothers in arms, and so we just kind of want to talk tonight a little bit about what Memorial Day means to us in the community, and a little bit about our kids. So Yolanda, why don't you tell us a little bit about your son?
So my son, Senior Airman Jonathan Antonio Vega Yelner, United States Air Force, was killed in Bagram, Afghanistan, April 29th, 2008. And for me, that was as if it was yesterday. The pain just doesn't go away. There isn't a day that doesn't go by that I don't think of him. And I know that he was considered a man among his colleagues in the Air Force. He was my baby. He will always be my baby. So I miss him very, very much.
Mary, earlier we saw a fantastic memorial that was dedicated to Ben at his high school, which we had the privilege of being there for that dedication.
Great.
And it was kind of neat that it was a small. In fact, did you go to that school too?
I did go to
yeah,
that school.
that's what I recall. So,
I did go to that
So that it's a brand new school then, huh?
Yeah, it's brand new. Right.
So anyway, tell us a little bit about Ben and how. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
I know this is a difficult conversation to have.
Yeah.
For those in the audience, for those, first of all, we're very good friends.
Yeah.
Second of all, every day is Memorial Day for us. This is
day
not
is
the last Monday in May isn't that much different than any other Monday in any other week in the year or any other day for that matter. But tell us a little bit.
For us, it's not different, but for everyone else, it should be a day of remembering our fallen soldiers and our fallen heroes. I'm just like anyone else who, before this happened to me, you know, Memorial Day was a day to have barbecue and get together with family and enjoy the holiday, the 3-day weekend. You'd have to go to work, right? And so, but once my son was killed, it just became a whole different thing altogether. And so Memorial Day is now about making sure people, first of all, know what it is. There's still hard to believe a lot of people who mix up Memorial Day with Veterans Day, and so that's, you know, one thing that I try to make sure people understand what it really is. And but also just a day to make sure that I participate in some kind of activity that honors Ben and all of them. Go to a ceremony, or sometimes I go to the cemetery. Ben is buried at Golden Gate National Cemetery in San Bruno. But I just use it as a time to really just reflect and remember. Not that I don't every single day of the year, but to make sure that others do too. So yeah, Ben was a goofy kid, and he was liked to get in trouble and liked to try to scam us. And he, you know, as Yolanda said, he was my baby. He was my youngest, and he got, you know, was going down a path and decided it wasn't a good road, and so he decided he was going to join the Army, and we couldn't talk him out of it. As proud and you know, as proud of him as we were, we didn't want him to go then, you know, but he was determined, and he went, and he died doing what he wanted to be doing.
So Ben was killed when?
He was killed on December 31st, 2008.
2008. And he was how old?
He was 22, barely. Just had turned 22.
Jonathan was?
Jonathan had just turned 24.
Okay.
His birthday is Christmas Eve.
So Mike,
Yes.
a little different perspective.
Yes, sir.
You and I have, you know, I mean, for the audience, Mike is my surrogate son at this point. You know, he gives me grandchildren. I've got enough now.
You're welcome.
But there's a bond that comes between. I'm just happy that I reached out to the military when I did, and I know that the same thing has happened with you guys. You have met with people that knew your kids when they served. The stories that we knew of our children are different than the stories I heard about my son and the things they did.
Yeah.
And there was so much pride to how they changed in those very few. Joey was only 21. He'd been in for 3 years when, actually for 4, because he went in the delayed entry program. So he went in when he was 17. But Mike, tell us a little bit about, not the details, but you know, what it means to have one of your best friends, you know, part of your family.
Yeah, being real close to people like that in an environment
that you do the training and you do the struggles every single day, you come close with everybody. And then certain individuals stick out that you just really bond to and grasp, and you know that that's going to be there forever. And that's what, you know, I had with Joey, and I had with a couple other people, and then other soldiers had with others. And then when the incident happened, you know, it was very rough after, you know, immediately, and then the years went on. But here recently, you know, for Memorial Day, to me is I always have that one moment that I like to seclude myself and, you know, go into real deep thought, reflection, you know, into my emotions and really think about that time, not just on that particular moment, but I have other friends and battle buddies who I've heard stories from that they, you know, they're really good friends in the same situations. And I just think about all that. And I just really, you know, I'm thankful for where I am, the people that I've met. And so on that time of that year, I just really like to be around my family and be very thankful for that, you know, whether they are blood or they are like how Joey or like how you and I are. And that's what I really am compassionate about now. It took me a very long time to get there, but I'm here.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, it's an interesting bond that we have. We were all together for an event last Friday. In fact, Nathan was there too. We were all together for an event. And we do these events a lot together. We have a little joke amongst the Gold Star parents, and that is that I wish I would have never met either one of them. Because the only reason that our paths crossed was because of the sacrifice of our children. And we say that, but we depend and rely so heavily upon each other, especially this month. This month is a tough month.
I'm curious, because now that you have this network that, again, you hope that you never had, is that most of who your network is today? Or do you remain connected to some of the friends that you had before? Do you connect to people that I'm thinking about the perspective of a veteran as well, is that sometimes it's hard to leave the military. It's hard to transition into a new time in your life and to connect with new people or allow new people into your life or to stay connected to the people who were previous in your life. Is there that same challenge for someone who's lost a good friend or lost a son?
I know for me, one of the things that shocked me was going to the store and having people that I know and was very close with would see me and they would turn around and walk away. That hurt me. And I realized people say, yeah, but you know, they didn't know what to say to you. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. My son was killed, and you can't even come and say to me, I am so sorry for your loss. That's all you have to say. But for the most part, I would say that the people that I grew up with, I have a very strong group of people that I connected with. And they're people who I worked with when I was with World Airways. And they're certainly my family.
There is a difference. There is a difference. Even with my absolute best friends who, you know, that I grew up with and love, and because there's just this lack of comprehension. You can't, the most honest thing a person can say to somebody that's suffered a loss like this, no matter what the cause of the loss, but it's just not right for a parent to outlive their child. And so the most honest thing you can say is, I really don't know how you feel. And that's what I like to hear. I think we need to stop for a...
No, we actually have 1 minute, but we can come back to this. We're going to have a whole nother segment, but we've got Elaine from Lafayette on the line. Elaine, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
How can we help you? Do you have a question or a comment, Elaine?
I wanted to make a comment, and you're really touching my heart tonight. I'm a 70-year-old daughter of a Korean War veteran who actually was killed as a POW over there. And tonight I was watching this. We are starting a new program for veterans that I'm doing in honor of my father, in memory of my father, and also my mother, who was a WAC in the 1940s. And all my life I've wanted to do something for the precious veterans in my family, and being an Army brat from a long time ago, I just never got to finish honoring my parents like I wanted to, because I never really got to know my dad. And this year, in fact, I'm so delighted to see you on the TV, because Nathan has been very helpful to me, and Kurt Harris, a member of my staff. I run a nonprofit that is starting a program this month called Rides for Veterans. And we are going to be working very hard to, with a number of volunteers. In fact, we're bringing on our first client tomorrow, a 90-year-old gentleman who also served in Korea. And we are going to be giving veterans rides to their medical appointments, for social events, for shopping and things like that, so that they will not be left abandoned when they no longer can take public transportation. And I'm very proud to be doing that in honor of the parents I love so much. I also want to say hello to Yolanda Vega. Yolanda and I went to St. Mary's together to get our MBAs many, many years ago in the 70s, and I'm so delighted to see her there and know the pain she has suffered from her loss as well.
Well, Elaine, thank you. Thank
you for that. And it's a great, I know Kurt, it's a great program. We've talked many times about it. So
I want to ask Elaine a question, because I don't think, Elaine, you tell too many people that you are a Gold Star family member. So real quickly, we've got about 15 seconds. What way do you spend Memorial Day to remember those that have fallen like your father?
Absolutely. The thing, I bring out pictures. The only memory I have of my dad is pictures, mostly in a uniform, when he's holding me and my two brothers. And it's a day for pictures, for prayer, for calling my family members, both my brothers who served in Vietnam, and reminding us all how blessed we are to have each other now, and how if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here, nor would we have the freedoms in this country that he and other soldiers have brought to us.
Thank you so much, Elaine, for joining us. Folks, stay with us. We'll be right back. We'll have another quick segment here in a moment, but we're going to pause the discussion for a brief video message from CalVet. We'll still be taking your questions and comments, however, throughout the break. Stay with us. Hi, Nathan Johnson from Veterans Voices here with CalVet, Philip Leggett. Phil, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
You're with the Prop 63 program, Mental Health Services Act, but you're also an Army veteran. Tell us a little bit about your service.
All right. I served from 2003 to 2006 in the Army. I was stationed at Fort Stewart, and I did a tour in Iraq from 2004 to 2005.
Oh, wow. So what was your job in the Army?
I was an intel analyst.
Oh, fantastic. Well, welcome home. Thanks for your service.
Oh, thank you.
So tell us a little bit about the CalVet Prop 63 program.
Okay, well, CalVet Prop 63 program is we get grants from Prop 63 every year that we could distribute to counties throughout California to focus on mental health treatment.
How many different counties receive this funding?
Depending upon how much we receive and how much we're going to give to each county, anywhere from 6 to 12 counties could be participating.
Great, and we've been a recipient of the grant. We appreciate CalVet's support. Can you give us an idea of what other county programs are out there? What are other counties doing with their Prop 63 funding? Okay,
each county is different. As, for example, Sonoma County, they focus on military sexual trauma, and they work with a nonprofit organization called Verity, and they focus on veterans, families that went through some type of mental health problem, including sexual trauma.
Very, very important. Wow, great. Well, County Veteran Service Officers are an important resource. It's always great to have CalVet support. Who's all involved in this program? I know yourself. Are there others at CalVet who get involved in the grant decision process or go out and visit with counties?
Okay, I oversee the program, but my supervisor, Jamie Jones, she runs it, and also our secretary, Keith Boylan.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate everything. Is there anything else our audience should know about Prop 63 or about the role of CalVet in this program?
CalVet likes to work with local communities, including different counties throughout California, and we want to make sure the money that we do give to counties goes directly to mental health and helps veterans and the families the best way possible.
Fantastic. And mental health is very important. We've had several episodes in the past on mental health topics. In fact, we had one just recently on relationships and children and such. So this sounds like an important program for counties. How does a county apply for the Prop 63 funding?
Well, each fiscal year, we provide each county an RFA, that's a request for application, and they turn in the application requesting grant funding for mental health treatment. And then me, Jamie, go over the applications, grade them, and then for the ones that we may choose, we do site visits.
So information like about their budget, information about their program, who benefits from it. Do they report metrics on their success to CalVet to show that that funding is being used in the right way?
Exactly. Each quarter, they provide us metrics and reporting showing us how or how the funds were used and how many veterans were helped.
So is there a website that counties or veterans should check out?
Yes, it's www.calvet.ca.gov.
Appreciate you being here today, Phil. Appreciate all that CalVet does. And this is Nathan Johnson with Veterans Voices. We'll be right back.
If you're just tuning in, tonight's show is called Some Gave All. We're discussing Memorial Day and what it means to veterans and families who have lost someone. If you'd like to share a story or a comment, give us a call and send us a message. We are taking your calls live tonight. We are also taking anonymous chats, which is something that just came up on our screen. And we do want to make sure that we acknowledge that, according to this chat, there was 161 uniformed women who gave their lives in service that we should remember in Iraq and Afghanistan post 9/11. They are honored by Valor Run. But we want to make sure that we include everybody when we think about Memorial Day, and especially those that we think of women not being in combat, but in fact they are, no matter what their job is. And so we want to make sure that we do recognize those women that serve also. So we're back.
We're back, and we were talking about the networks that Gold Star families and Friends of the Fallen developed. Mike, I'm wondering, have you stayed connected at all to any of your buddies from your unit? Maybe Joey was the only one killed in your unit, or maybe there were others. Do you guys call each other or send each other a message and talk, if it's not about those that died in Iraq? Just check on each other and see how they're doing?
Definitely do. I mean, with the power of social media these days, it's so easy to connect, and I've followed or found many of those recently and then out through the years, and we always keep contact, some more than others, but definitely that connection through some of these hard times is always somebody good to lean on, and that helps you get through things. You know, I have quite a few of them that I do have on social media that I reach out to, hey, how's it going, this, that, and that, and, when I feel, or they'll do the same thing to me. So, yeah, I do definitely keep contact with them. And then with Kevin as well.
I was going to say, Mary, I know Mary does. I know, Mary, you have a couple of Ben's buddies that you're almost mentoring, if you might say, or helping along the road that are struggling with the loss of your son.
Yes, so my son had a best friend, Corey, who went into the Army, joined the Army after Ben passed, and they were practically like brothers. He's like my second son, like you say, and he's very much struggling now, and really, he went to Afghanistan, and just is having some issues coming home, and really struggling with the loss, and so yeah, it's a difficult thing. It's a really difficult thing. And I actually was able to connect with the physician who tried to save Ben's life. Oh, wow. And that was pretty intense, because I was able to ask him questions like, did he suffer? And, what did you do? And what actually happened? And it was, so we're in touch on Facebook, which is pretty interesting. And
do you find, Yolanda, Mary, do you find that you almost end up comforting those that were...
Sometimes.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I actually had somebody say to me, yeah, I didn't come to the funeral because, I don't do funerals. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, really? So, I mean, interesting, and yeah.
Wish I had that luxury.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And it's, yeah, you end up talking to people about, your son, our sons, and I like talking to about Ben, and I think people sometimes don't realize that you are okay with it, and they don't say anything, or they don't know what to say, or they say things they don't really mean, or it's sometimes can be awkward, but yeah, sometimes I feel like we end up.
I remember it was probably 3 years. You were back at Eustis, Fort Eustis, right? And when you and I went upstairs in the pool room talking finally about Joey. Yeah. And what the interesting part was, and I don't know if you guys have had this opportunity, but I heard Mike's tell the story. I heard other guys that were there that day tell the story, because you want to make sure that what you're reading in the incident report, that you can, because it doesn't always happen that way. And let's face it, not everything gets reported exactly right. I'm not pointing any finger, I'm just saying it doesn't. It was a relief to me to get the real story, and by the time you got it from 3 or 4 eyewitnesses, now, these are guys that are under fire, right? But you still get that story, and you know exactly. It was when Stephen Gregory came out and spent that day with me, who was in the Humvee between Mike and Joey, that, you can confirm there's just some comfort in that, in confirming the facts. True?
Yeah, you know, I got a phone call when after Jonathan was killed, and he was buried in May. He's buried at Oakmont in Lafayette. And I got a phone call from the cemetery saying, there's a gentleman here and his wife who would like to meet you. Meet me. And so they gave me their name. He was Jonathan's first sergeant in Afghanistan. And they flew here from Texas to meet you. And they went to the cemetery, and I met them. They were a little nervous. They said, we didn't know if you were going to be happy to meet us. And as Mary said, I was happy to meet them because I didn't want Jonathan to suffer. You know, if you're going to kill him, let him just die immediately and go to heaven, please God. And then a few months later, I got a phone call from Jonathan's commander in Afghanistan, Colonel Anderson, and his wife, and they came out to my home to meet me. They came out from Florida to meet me. And next month, I'm going to be flying to Texas, to San Antonio, and spending time with Jonathan's first sergeant. So those are things that are comforting. The other thing that's comforting is just meeting you and Leanne, and meeting Mary and the other Gold Star families. Mary and I met at the Marines Memorial for the Gold Star Family Retreat, and we just immediately connected. It was satisfying and validating that we could end each other's sentences and talk about our children, cry, and not, you know, say, oh, no, they're there, it's okay. We'd just cry, and then we'd start laughing. We'd cry and start laughing. Anybody else would think there's something wrong here. But those are all very comforting opportunities for us, and that networking for somebody to know exactly how you feel.
And that's really what it is, huh? I mean, it's these venues that we are privileged enough to, and we're pretty lucky here in Northern California because we had some common things that we were working on early on. Joy was killed in '06, so a couple of years before your children were, but we've developed this kind of community of, and I think we're fortunate to have that event over in San Francisco where we all can come together, and it grows every year, but that venue where it's safe. I know it sounds fine. I kind of even almost hate that term, but it's true. It's safe because I don't know exactly how you feel, but I got a pretty good idea, you know? And I don't know, you know, exactly how Mike feels, but I got a pretty good idea. The interesting part for me as a father, and just a different perspective, is I have this, I try to see what happened. You know, I've gotten the facts, very bluntly gotten the facts. But for some reason, it's important for me. I didn't, you know, I wasn't there, you know. Yeah. The other thing is the survivor guilt, you know. These guys come back, their platoon sergeant hit him really hard because he wasn't out there on the road that day. Somehow he felt if he was there, he could have made a difference. Probably not. It was a rocket, it was an EFP or an RPG for, you know, for all intents and purposes.
We just have a couple minutes. Let me ask one final question from all of you, okay? Say there's a Gold Star family out there or a buddy of a service member that was killed in combat, and they haven't connected as well as you have. They don't have the network, they don't have events, they're maybe not doing as well. What would you advise that they do to, although every day may not get any easier and although every day may be memorial, what can you advise them on how to survive and how to remember their son or their buddy or their daughter?
Well, I think one thing is that even if they feel like they don't want to connect with someone else in their situation, it's so important. Like Kevin said, these are people that we would have never met any other time, but we are so glad we did, because that, to me, is really what gets us through it, is connecting with other people who understand.
And I would say always talk about your child. Okay. I think there's parents who feel that I can't talk about my child anymore because they're dead. They're not dead. They're with you. I feel Jonathan all the time. Yeah. And maybe that's a spiritual thing on my part, but I know he's there. And one of the things that I want to say as far as being the survivor, you bring back the memory of our child. So whether you realize it or not, our child is alive in you. So when we see you, we hold you so close to us because you're part of our son or our daughter. You're very important to us. So to have that guilt, please don't.
I would just wind it up by saying that it's important that you connect with somebody, whether it be a professional counselor or whether it be another Gold Star family or whatever you're comfortable with. But the grieving process is important. You have to learn how to grieve.
Connect, remember, and talk about them. Moms, thank you so much. Mike, thank you. What an honor to meet the friend of Joey Graves. Thank you for being here. Moms, love you very much. And we're going to take a few minutes now to share with you an upcoming veteran job and resource fair put on by the Employment Development Department. On June 7th, Honor a Hero, Hire a Vet will take place at Crown Plaza Hotel. We recently caught up with a local EDD vet rep to tell us more about this important upcoming event.
The name of the job fair is Honor the Hero, Hire a Vet. It is a state of California initiative. This is actually the 10th annual. It is June the 7th from 10 to 2 p.m. at the Crown Plaza. We have about 55 employers and about 25 service providers. And there are big names like Kaiser, PG&E, Comcast. It's a good resource because employers will have high quality jobs that meet the skill set for veterans that are coming out of the military. So it's just a great opportunity for employers to present jobs that they want to fill and veterans who can actually fill those type of positions. And it's just a great opportunity for them to meet up and, make a match. So we're basically introducing veterans to a lot of the service providers that they're just normally not aware of. Veterans are able to meet and interview employers right on the spot. They're able to learn about a lot of benefits that they didn't know about for veterans. And there's a lot of training and career opportunities specifically for veterans that will be at that event that they will learn about that they just didn't know about until they attend Honor the Hero, Hire a Vet.
Tonight, we are joined by Marine veteran Mike Urgo, whose blog Transitions from War details his own journey from combat to active living. Mike, good to see you again. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, welcome back to the show, Mike.
I'm surrounded by Marines. I don't know what I'm going to do. I feel so inferior.
Surrender.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, guys. And
absolutely.
Tell us about your project.
I will. So Transitions from War is a blog I've been doing for about a year and a half now. And it was inspired when I was on vacation in Hawaii and saw the Ironman Triathlon, the World Championships.
On the Big Island.
On the Big Island. And I had this intense wave of fear. And I knew that I needed to be part of something like that because I had just made a big transition in my life of my own. I had quit using alcohol and drugs. And so I was looking for a new way to deal with the PTSD I was diagnosed with and just feelings of depression, anxiety, panic attacks, all these things. And I'd spent a lot of years after I got out feeling sorry for myself or replaying some of the things in my head. And I said, I need to do something to honor these friends I had.
Just for context real quickly, because I know you've been on the show before.
Yeah.
When you say I got out, you mean you got out of the Marine Corps after serving?
I was in 4 years in the Marine Corps, active duty, did a couple of deployments to Iraq, and I was the 1st Battalion 8th Marines. And so I spent 4 years there and got out in 2005 and made my way back here to the Bay Area.
So after you got out, you said you had these struggles, but you found this new way.
I did, and that's not to say I didn't have support. I mean, when I talk about have support, I might have the best support out of any veteran I know. I mean, my grandparents who are here tonight moved down to San Diego while I was in boot camp.
Wow.
And they've always been there for me growing up.
Yeah, very special.
Yeah, my wife did her thesis her senior year on combat vets and PTSD.
Sarah did.
Yeah, and while we were just dating.
Wow.
And so I had such a great support system, but yet for me, I wasn't ready to deal with a lot of the memories.
Okay.
And so writing about them and racing to honor my friends, I was able to find that below the numbness and anger and sadness and then all the grief was an intense well of joy. And I found that I could be happy about these friends I had, just the honor to know them. And just like Carol talked about before, about these memorials that they're placing, it's not just a place to feel sad, it's a place to honor these people, honor these men and women.
So how do you do this? You do it in a very unique way. Tell us very specifically. We only have a couple minutes.
I race triathlons and trail races, but I specifically this year I'm training for my first full Ironman, the 140.6 mile one.
140?
Yeah, so I'll be swimming 2.4 miles, getting on a bike for a small 112-mile ride, and then running a marathon afterwards.
Incredible, Mike.
So I'm doing this because I want to share just the joy I have about how to deal with this. And we talked a little earlier, and it would be my honor to be able to bring your son's name or some memento he had along with me to show that these men and these women are not forgotten, and that other people need to know about him.
The amazing part is that you want to honor my son, but the healing, it's kind of like what happens with the Gold Star family. Your healing comes from helping us heal.
Yes.
My healing comes from helping other Gold Star families heal. And it's amazing how that crosses, it's generational. I mean, you know, wow, Mike, you could be my son, right? Yeah. I mean, you're probably close to the same age as Joey, maybe a little older, but, and so the fact that you get your healing by helping us heal is a testament to who you are.
Well, I just want people to know that, you know, drinking, using drugs, or ways of pushing these memories out isn't the best way. There's a lot of other ways, and for me, it's this. It's racing. It's being physically active. It's honoring my body by eating well, and so I'm happy to be able to do that and to share that with other people if that I can offer any inspiration to them and healing to them too.
Well, Mike, you're authentic. A Marine, a rifleman, 2 deployments to Iraq, including Fallujah in November of 2004.
Right.
You're an incredible example of physical, emotional, and spiritual strength. So thank you so much for joining us today. There's an organization that supports you, and we want to plug them real quickly.
So they're a group called Cowboy Crickets out of Montana, and
Let me take a taste.
They put out a sustainable way of protein powder and cookies, and I decided I wanted to, in honor of my healthy lifestyle, use their protein powder and support a veteran business.
And you mean you get to eat this and run a triathlon? I mean,
yeah, exactly. It's pretty cool. So James and Kathleen Rowland were pretty good to help me out like that.
I'll eat crickets any day.
An email list. I buy whey. I would like to buy from them.
Awesome. So thanks so much, Mike. Tonight we discussed organizations that exist to serve the veteran and their family. A list of these resources can be found on our website. We had Carol and Loretta on tonight from the Blue Star Moms. For more information or to get involved, go to the website. Blue Star Moms, Chapter 20 can be found at ccbluestarmoms.org. Chapter 101 can be found at bluestarmoms.org. The Gold Star Family Registry is a comprehensive searchable database of those heroes that have died in combat from World War II through present-day wars. They can be found at goldstarfamilyregistry.com. The Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors offers compassionate care to all those grieving the death of a loved one serving in our armed forces. TAPS provides comfort and hope 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through a national peer support network and connection to grief resources, all at no cost to surviving families and loved ones. They can be found at taps.org.
Great organization. There are many important events coming up for veterans and their families. Call or email our producers if you have any veteran events that you'd like featured on our website or our live show. The Walk of Honor 2017 pays tribute to the men and women who have served our nation. The walk will start in Crockett at 8:30 on May 20th and will be followed by a barbecue luncheon with live entertainment. Contact Vietnam Veterans of Diablo Valley for more information. Also, Military Career Day will return to the Sonoma Raceway on June 23rd. You need to register for that if you want to go up and try to find a job. You can also, if you get there, you will get to watch the race.
Well, we've got about 2 minutes left, so I kind of feel like we rushed. But we thank you. We thank those that called in. We thank you for all your questions, all your comments, all the way from Ralph, Elaine. We had wonderful folks on, and we want to thank all of our moms. We want to thank both of our Mikes. And we want to thank you for joining us on Veterans Voices. Tell a friend, tell your neighbor about this show. We want them to watch this episode so they can learn more about Memorial Day and what it really means.
And remember, Monday, take a minute, tell your family what it's about, be silent, and remember those that have given their lives for their country.
We want to thank those organizations that support our show. You can make a contribution through the Diablo Valley Veterans Foundation. You can go to our website for more information about how to contribute to the show. They accept donations on our behalf. This is Veterans Voices of Contra Costa County, wishing you all a good evening, and thank you for serving. Veterans Voices is forming a viewer advisory panel to provide direction for future shows. Your opinion can make a difference and assist us in doing a better job of meeting the needs of other veterans and families of veterans. You can help with a very small commitment of your time, only 2 or 3 minutes per month. As a member of the Viewers Advisory Panel, you would receive a single email each month with a short survey containing 5 questions. You simply respond with your rating for each segment of the show and then rate the overall show. There will be a section for an additional written comment if you wish to make one. After filling out the ratings, simply send the email back to Veterans Voices. It's quick and simple. We understand that you might have another commitment when the live show airs each month. Not a problem. You can watch any of the follow-up shows that air throughout the week or watch the show from our website and then send in your survey. And thanks for providing feedback to us on a regular basis. You will receive a certificate recognizing your membership on the Viewer Advisory Panel. You will also receive a free invitation to attend the annual Veterans Voices Barbecue to be held this summer. To join the Viewer Advisory Panel, just send an email to vetviewer@contracostatv.org or sign up on our website. Thank you, and don't forget to tune in to Veterans Voices every Monday night at 7 p.m. with new episodes the third Monday of every month. Thank you for serving.